Hello everybody and welcome back to the Q&A live with me, Leigh, in Hicksy's garage. Now, if I can try to get my lighting sorted right here. As we did with the last video, do bear with us. I am in the garage without Wi-Fi and with my heater going, so my apologies if there is a bit of background noise. But welcome to everybody who normally joins us. We get a lot of regulars on a Sunday evening, which is absolutely brilliant, and we get lots of new people as well. And for those who have not watched this before or have not seen it before, my name's Leigh. I'm the host of the Combe Valley Campers YouTube channel, and also, I guess, the boss of Combe Valley Campers. And we do this on a Sunday. We do a Q&A live, and it's in my garage. I'm either working on my Beetle, or I'm just chatting with you, or, as it seems to be, banging my head on that little roof support right there. So maybe I'll move you back a bit so I don't bang my head. We've already got some good people in the chat already. Our regulars, we've got James. He says, good evening, Leigh. 89 Thunder Chunky says, hey, Leigh. And we've got Ed_NE. He says, hey there, any tips for insulating the fiberglass roof on a high T5? Now that is a very good question, but before I go ahead with that, Overland Adventurer has come in and says, evening Leigh, hope all is well. So if I could first of all just get a little bit of feedback, how's the signal, how's the sound, am I coming across clearly to you guys? So, Ed_NE, any tips for insulating the fiberglass roof on a high top T5? Now, we have insulated a lot of high tops in the past, normally only on the likes of a T25 or a Bay, but what we generally do is actually only use one product. One, maybe two. Now, in the likes of a Type 25, this is cool, we're getting straight into it. Nice job there, Ed. Normally with a Type 25, we tear everything out first because it's either water damaged, old and clunky, and just not fit for relining with new carpet. So what we would tend to do is actually batten out the fiberglass high top with either like a 12mm ply or a 25mm batten, and then we will fill those gaps with the likes of the Dodo Thermoliner Pro, which can come in different thicknesses, and if you need any more information about that, do let us know. But normally the adhesive back on Thermoliner Pro is amazing on clean bare metal, say if you're lining out the inside of your van, but when it comes to actually insulating a fiberglass roof, what we tend to do is first prime the fiberglass with high temperature spray adhesive, because it's quite porous, obviously, the inside of a fiberglass roof. So we prime it with or put the first coat with high temp adhesive up in there, and then we actually spray adhesive on the back of the Thermoliner Pro as well, and then you will get a really good firm bond on that fiberglass insulation, and that will then provide you that closed cell foam with a Silverline backed insulation layer between the outside world, the fiberglass, and the inside of the van. So you've got that layer of the Thermoliner Pro, and that comes in all sorts of thicknesses, 5, 10, even up to 30 if you wish. And again, depending if you're battening it or not, depending on how thick the batten you have is, you can potentially even put some thermo fleece in there as well. Actually, Ed's come back. Oh, Warren's in. Good evening, Warren. UAO. Urban Arc Overland's in as well. He says, good evening, young man. Warren has given us a winky smiley and a wave. Ed NE says, I tried using foil-lined foam board with those sticky pins, but they don't stick to my HexMat sound deadening. No, again, if you're actually putting Thermoliner Pro on HexMat sound deadening, then that's great. But if you're just putting Thermoliner on a fiberglass roof, then I would use the high temp spray adhesive that we would recommend for carpet, and that will give you a really good bond. Now, once you've got your Thermoliner Pro, like I said before, there's sort of two ways you can do that. You can batten it out and fill in the gaps, and then what we do once it's battened out, we put like a 3.6mm ply, shape it all the way around, and then we carpet that. Or failing that, you can get away with making a really neat job of all of the Thermaliner Pro around the inside of the fiberglass roof, and then you can carpet line on top of that, and that actually gives a really nice finish, and it's also sort of soft to touch as well. So if you're up in the roof and you bang off something, it's not actually a hard layer, you can actually carpet directly on top of the Thermaliner Pro, and we've done that plenty of times to really good effect as well. So it's just come straight back in. Or Motivates in, Goggy is in, he says, evening guys, good evening my man. Ed N.E. says, I'm battening along the fiberglass roof ribs with an aim to use solid wood cladding over that. Solid wood cladding. So yes, so if you are battening out and then cladding over the top, then you've got plenty of gap in there to fit the Thermaliner Pro in between. I hope that helps. If you've got any further questions, please fill up the comments, and that is really good. If you are watching now, it says to me that there are 17 of you watching right now, which is awesome. And I've only got 5 thumbs up. So if you do like the video, and if you do like these feeds, and you do like to help keep the channel going and give the positive feedback, apparently, and this is what I've been told, and maybe somebody can comment down below how you do this, you've got to come out of the comments section and then you can click the thumbs up button, and that really helps us as a channel as well. If somebody can confirm that down below, that would be really good. Thank you so much in advance, that's really helpful of you. Chris Milner is straight in. This is cool. I haven't even really done any of the prelim chat. We're actually straight into the comments, which I absolutely love as well. Goggy Motivate says, sorry I didn't send the pics of the hot air outtake gaps yet. Okay, well we can do that in the future. Chris Milner says, thanks for the videos. They are helping guide the new conversion. I have removed everything, including the old creaky rock and roll bed. I'd like a quality new one, comfortable and safe. Any suggestions? Well, first of all, what van do you have there, Chris? And then I'll be able to give a recommendation. If it's an older van, there's different styles, or if there's a newer one like a T5, T6, I would always recommend the crash tested and TÜV tested Rustily rock and roll beds. Warren has come back in. This is done. Yep, that's how you do it. Thank you very much, Warren. Appreciate that. Andy Dowson's in and giving us a thumbs up. Ed's come back and says, I'm building a single cab bunk over the combi seats with my feet over the cab. Cool, yeah, I get it. Leaving enough full height in the back for a decent sized kitchen. Thanks for that advice, it's extremely useful. Do you know what? I had a very similar build idea with the 2K T5, and I was gonna put one of the huge fiberglass roofs on the top of the 2K T5, you know, the big bullnose ones that looks like the California type conversion. We aren't going that route, but I would have done exactly the same thing as you. Get the full height in the back, kitchen area at the back, over the combi seats or rib Neptune type seats, and then yes, cab bunk over the cab. John Nichols is in. He says, hi John, by the way. He says, hi, I want to fit a diesel heater into my T25. Where would be the best place? It's a 1.6 diesel water cooled. Right, well actually about 3-4 weeks ago I released a video about diesel heaters on this very channel, and we fitted a diesel heater using a stainless steel box under my own personal Type 25 diesel. It was formerly a 1.6, it's now a 1.9. And you'll be able to follow that video to the T to fit your diesel heater underneath your Type 25. So the heater itself was a Autoterm planar 2 kilowatt. We got the stainless steel box that you can house it in, and that gives you sort of unlimited positions underneath the van where you can fit it. We chose back just on the driver's side, just in front of the rear wheel, and that gave a really good position to form the heater hoses up into the covered units. But if you watch the video, you will learn more. Hope that helps. Chris Milner says a T4. So you want a rock and roll bed in your T4. Now I would still recommend a Rusty Leigh rock and roll bed. Yes, we do sell them, but we sell them for a very good reason, because they're bloody brilliant. I know Leigh personally, but before I knew him personally, we did a lot of using his equipment, and Obviously there's a million beds out there. You asked for my recommendation. I've used rib beds, I've used smart beds, I've used Rusty Leigh beds for the money and for the quality and the certification. You can get a Rusty Leigh bed in the back of a T4 all day long. If you'd like any more details, or you'd like to give us any more details about your van and we can help you find the perfect bed, please go ahead and email info@combevalleycampers.co.uk. I could actually put that down below, but if somebody could put that down in the comments for me, that would be great. info@combevalleycampers.co.uk. That would give Chris Milner a very good space to actually go ahead and email us, and we can give you further advice on the best bed available for you guys. So I hope that's cool. Oh, before I go any further, and I know there's a couple of people who've seen this. In fact, first of all, what are you drinking this evening? I have myself a regular cup of coffee, white, 2 sugars, or in the army, what we used to call NATO. Any hot drink with white and 2 sugars is NATO. So tea NATO, coffee NATO, cheers. What are you drinking this evening? Leave it down in the comments below. And there's 21 of you watching. I'd like to see 21 people's drinks if you have them. And if you don't, leave the comment as well. Second thing, do people recognise this coat? Now, in the past, I turned round to work on some of the stuff behind me and people were like, "In hell, Leigh, what's happened to your jacket?" Well, it had a rip and I caught it on like a nail in the wall or something like that, and it ripped the back sleeve. Anyway, I was working on a van at the workshop the other day, got up at the end of the day, went to shake my coat off and noticed that the hole had got bigger. So I've repaired it, and a seamstress I am not. So I have drift stitched my entire jacket back together with cable ties. So a bit of JDM fashioning there on my jacket, but it works really well. But that's how big the rip was. It started here and went all the way past the writing on the back. So fixed, done that. Anyway, Overland Adventurous is hopefully picking up my first transporter next weekend, 67 plate T6 X Eon fleet van, and looking into all the conversion layouts. I've no need for a rock and roll bed or a rib bed as I've no kids. Leaning towards a U-shaped setup. Thoughts? If you don't have kids and you don't need any seat-belted seats in the back of the van, a U-shaped all the way if that's how you wish to camp in it. Now, I'd recommend one company and one company only at this point, and that is Combe Camper Van Furniture. We have not been working with them very long, but we have been working with them, and we've not been working with them very long, but we've been working with them long enough to know that their shit is the best. Now, I don't say that lightly. We used to work with other companies out there, but once we visited their facility twice, and we've personally used their furniture for a van recently, I can tell you now that they are a small business like us, and they pay a lot of attention into the fit, finish and detail into their interiors. So a U-shaped interior from Combe Camper Van version will do very well in my opinion. And also, if you chat with them, tell them I sent you. If you chat with them, they will potentially do a little custom layout for you as well. So there you go. John Nichols says, brilliant, thank you. Well, look, Motivate says, my van was snowed over last week and the sliding door froze and I couldn't get it in. Is there a standard thing people to do that I am too much of a noob to know about? No, well, Goggy, I had the same thing whilst in Poland as well. I would suggest one of the things you can do, it won't necessarily be the locks that are frozen, it might well be the rubbers that are frozen to the door. You know, during the day, if a bit of moisture gets in between the metalwork and the rubber seal, and then overnight it freezes, it will freeze them together. So what some people do is maybe rub a little bit of Vaseline on the rubbers to prevent, or at least to dispel any water. And for the locks and things, if you're finding you get moisture in the locks, a good spray of WD-40 is a good option, because WD in the WD-40 actually stands for water displacement. So you spray that in, displaces all the water, and it gives a bit of lubrication as well. But WD-40 in your locks might help you in the winter time too. Chris Milner says, okay to call at some point to talk and sort. Yes, absolutely, Chris. Our telephone number, if you have a pen and paper, it's 01323 843532. That's 01323 843532. And if you call between, well, just office hours generally, you will more than likely speak to Marcus and or Dominica, and they will help you out. If you tell them I sent you from the live video on Sunday, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to chat to you. And if you do want to chat with me specifically, don't guarantee on it, because I'm generally down in the workshop, on the workshop floor, with my head deep into a camper van, but I can and will be available if 100% necessary. But generally, Marcus or Dominica will sort you right out. Ed N.E. Another question. One of the factory-fitted combi windows on my T5 is quite leaky. Is that a common flaw? Any tips for stopping this short of getting a new window? Yes, standard T5 sliding windows are poop. They've known about it for years, yet they still fit them. They did come out with a revision on the T6, but generally T5, T6 sliding windows are garbage, and you should get rid of them at the earliest opportunity. And if you are building a van and you haven't carpeted yet, get them done now. Speak to a good window fitter, local window fitter to you. Most people will do this for you. You have to remove the factory window glass and pop a new one in. So modern van windows from the likes of Camper Glass / Transporter HQ, they are brilliant. But yes, as soon as possible, get rid of those crappy windows. And if you can't get that done yet, or you just want a quick fix, literally just fill the gap all the way around with sealant and never use it as a slider again. That is generally only the way you are going to fix it, because they're garbage and they're worth chucking away. Chris Milner says, okay, I'll email. Motivate says, Fritz Kohler here. Good stuff. Me and my van and my dog me and my van and my dog on my bike says Malibu and Coke. Excellent. John Nichols, tea no sugar. Ed N.E. Lidl's fantastic imitation Pepsi Max. Respect. Russ 104, it's tea. Me and my van and my dog on my bike, Malibu and Coke. Yes, done that. James says tea. James says nice job. Matt Ursel, T1 sugar. John Sear says evening all. Good evening, John. James says, I like the look of the Woody's Wagon side bed, if you have seen them. Is the Woody's Wagon side bed is the one that sort of folds down. It sort of mounts up and clips in, so you can get stuff down the middle of the van, and then it folds down. John Sear says, coffee for me. Motivate's giving us a thumbs up. Kurt Marshall says, what's with that thumbnail? Are you ex-army? Yes. That is a very old photo. That was taken circa 2004, 2005. I'm ex-Royal Signaller myself. And the only reason I put that photo up is because it's one of the first on my phone, because today I have regained access into my Photo Bucket account. Do you remember Photo Bucket? People of old who used to go on forums and stuff like that. Photo Bucket used to be the place where you uploaded all your photos and then you were allowed to share them onto forums. And I used to be a huge contributor to forums, so that's where a lot of my memories are and a lot of my van photos and everything else. And as I was scrolling through today, I found that photo. Yes, there you go. Kurt says I spotted the old 432 from a mile away. Yes, so that was a tracked 432 with Raw Signals equipment in it, and I was in an armoured brigade for a very short period of time whilst in the Raw Signals. Gramophonic Revolution says St. Peter's Brewery Cream Stout. Well, that sounds like a nice drink. Cheers. Warren says Hobgoblin. Nice one, Warren. That is a good beer. Hobgoblin, is that Aldershot beer, right? Hobgoblin, made on the Hogsback Brewery, or is that me thinking of something else? Ed N.E. says, I was worried you'd say that. Thanks for the advice. I'll be back next Sunday with more questions. Have a great week. Well, you can ask more now if you wish. That's what this is for. James says, yes, it is. I can't remember what he's saying. Yes, it is too. Warren says, that's a Murphy bed. Okay, good stuff. So, cheers, everybody. Ed says, thanks so much again. Kurt Marshall says, I spotted the old 432 from a mile away. Yeah, you say old, that thing in terms of operating hours and or miles, whichever they operated in at the time. That thing was near new, or it was a restored one. I think that might have been a restored one that had been out to conflict, brought back, torn down, restored, and then put back on the road again. Okay, John Sear says, what's the best way to lube sliding door rollers? What van do you have again, John? I can't remember. Are we T5, T6? I cannot remember. generally, when it comes to lubing sliding door rollers, generally your best bet is to replace the rollers. Now I know that sounds like an absolute pain in the what's it to do. However, generally, if rollers start getting stiff, it's the bearings that have gone. It's the bearings that have gone in the rollers. And you can put lube in them if they're not closed or sealed bearings. But yes, generally you are better off getting new sliding door parts. Now, sliding door parts are cheap. It's just refitting them is easier to do with two people. And if you are replacing one roller on your sliding door, because you should have 3 areas on your VW sliding door that I know of. You should have a top roller, a middle, and a bottom. And if you're going to do one roller, you might as well do them all, because you're going to have to take the door off more than likely anyway. So collect all the parts, then book a day with somebody or book a day with a mate, and then get all the rollers done in one go. And then you won't have to worry about it again for a while. Whereas if you fix the bottom one, but it's the middle one that's still a pain in the ass, you know what I mean? It's best to do all 3 in one go. I would recommend. Dispatch. Right, okay. So, yeah. Tony's in. He says, I didn't know you were live. Is that diesel heater on the fan setting? No, it's not. Tony, can you remind me? Because I did try and dick around with it based off the very quick message that you sent, because I didn't have enough time to go through the long list of instructions that you sent me. How do I go about reducing the fan setting again? Thank you in advance. Chris Milner says, talking of sliding doors, I can't open mine from the inside. T4. Something is not happening. Any thoughts? Now, what you'd be best doing, Chris, is probably removing the door card from the inside of the door. T4s are a bit old school in that there are lots of rods. And you might find that just one of your rods has come undone. And if the rod has come undone, it's more than likely that the little plastic bushing on the lock that the rod slots into is probably bust. It's a very common thing. Happens with T4s a lot because they're getting a bit old now. That you've got, call this the bracket or one of the catches in your sliding door like that. Your rod goes into, or the hook on the rod goes into a point like that, but normally it has a plastic clip to stop metal rattling or just to hold it in place like a clip. Generally they break, explode, whatever. You might find that it's just a rod, but T4s in general, that's the sort of maintenance you're going to have to start doing now. You're going to have to start maybe disassembling the locks, lubing the locks, re-greasing the locks, and that goes for both cab doors, the sliding door handle, and maybe even the tailgate. You know, T4s at best, at their very newest, are 20 years old now. And when did they first come out? 1990 is the earliest T4. So they were on the road for like 20 years. And say the oldest one is nearly, Christ, 35 nearly. So yes, get your door locks, do the preventative maintenance. If that's one thing I could recommend anybody who has older vans, try and keep up on the preventative maintenance. Don't wait till something goes wrong, do the preventative maintenance. It's not a bad thing to do. And that's why when people talk to me about, I can't believe you've taken your 40-year-old van 2,500 miles around Europe, aren't you afraid something's going to break? Yeah, of course I am, but I know I've done enough preventative maintenance over the years to know everything, that I've lubed this, I've done that, whatever. So you build more confidence in your own vehicle when you are carrying out preventative maintenance, because not only are you doing that maintenance, you'll get to learn things about that van, repair things that might be broken. And at the moment, my preventative maintenance is way down low. But I'm doing a weekend of work this coming weekend, doing preventative maintenance and repair work on my own vehicles, and we might even be able to film that. So let's hope for that moving forward. That was a long answer, wasn't it? But you know, we got on with it. Kurt Marshall says, I've got a T5.1 left-hand drive. As I live in France, and getting parts here is a nightmare. The modding community here is non-existent. Do you have any recommendations for EU customers owners? Heritage have a European warehouse to have a look at Heritage Parts Centre. I know Transporter HQ have just closed theirs down. I don't think Europe was as beneficial for them as they wanted to. We have personally looked into European supply in the past, and that might be something we do in the future, who knows, but nothing's written in stone or, you know, cast in stone. So I don't really know. We can look into it for you though. You know, if you wanted to email us and say, look, this is my predicament, because we have lots of friends in Europe that might be able to help out. So yeah, ping us an email. Say, look, my name's Kurt. I've just spoken to Leigh on the Sunday Night Live. I'd really love to find some European supplies. Just give us a shout. We'll see what we can do. Ross104 says, back in a bit. I washed the wife's car on my T4 this afternoon. I'm going to fire some WD-40 in the door locks on the T4 or I won't get in the morning. Nice job, Russ. Bit of preventative maintenance. John Sear says, love your hand actions. Yes, I know, a little bit innuendo-ish, isn't it? Motivate says, what is needed in terms of modifications to get a panel van MOT'd as a camper van and then insured as a camper van? So, I don't know what it would be like in your country where you live, Goggy, but in the UK, if you speak to somebody like Howden Modified Van Insurance, you can get any van effectively insured as a modified van, because a camper van is a modified van. But you might have to look into it more in your country, mate, I'm afraid, because I have no knowledge of that. I'm sorry. Russ says there's a lever lock. There's a lever on the lock mechanism on the inside of the T5 where you can disable it from opening on the inside. I clicked mine by accident, then I had the door panel off and it took me a while to suss. There you go, actually. There you go. That's possibly something that it is. You know, you've got your child lock on. Tony says, to change between the thermostat or the fan speed, press the settings and up arrow simultaneously. See if we can do this. The settings and up arrow simultaneously. Right, so that says P 3.3 hertz. So if I turn that down now, should that turn down? Oh yeah! Nice! So it's still the right heat, but the fan settings, well that's 1.2 now, that's the lowest. So, how's that in terms of sound, everybody? Let me know what you think. Sorry, a little bit of a tripod wobble there. Yeah, that's still got the heat for the mate. Thank you. Warren says, know anything about Transit Custom rear barn doors being stiff, getting stiffer? No greasing points to be seen and WC not doing much. I would suggest just continuous greasing, like every time you get the opportunity, just maybe force a bit of grease in there. Maybe even if you were to get your trolley jack under the door maybe, and just to lift it slightly, because obviously the doors are friggin' heavy and they're constantly bearing weight down on those hinges. Maybe if you were to lift those doors up with a jack, maybe get even the smallest of gap in there and fire some grease in there, you know, like the grease guns. Maybe fire some grease in there and do it over time. You might actually be able to work some grease in there. That's what I'm thinking. Kurt Marshall says, thanks for that, Leigh. You are more than welcome, Kurt. There we go. See, that's really quiet now. So the heat's still there, but the fan's not as strong. That's really cool. Hang on. Nice. Nice, thank you very much. So, whilst the questions are a bit quiet, I've been working on this week, and I might even do some more work on it later. Or I could do work on it now. What do you think? Do you want to watch me work on the bug, or would you prefer me to do more questions and answers? Because I'm extremely happy doing both. We're like half hour in already. Hang on. So, what I've been doing is cleaning the engine block and cleaning all of the tinware. So the engine block down there, if I can put a bit of light on it. Put a bit of light on it down there. Check it out. It is super nice. Right. So everything is clean. I have done the top, the front. This comes off. But I've done the top, the front, the heads. Underneath the heads. The bottom of the engine. It is now the cleanest engine block I have ever had. But I'm not going to stick a bunch of crappy tinware back on it. Now, it will probably look crappy when it's clean, because I'm not wasting my time painting it when it works just fine. But that is what my tinware looks like now. Now, yesterday, I don't even have an example of an old bit yet. Right, here you go. So that's a bit I haven't cleaned yet. And that's a bit I have cleaned. There you go, see all that thick grime and grease that's in there? That was like it, but worse. This is one of the trays that sits underneath the cylinder. Cylinder head. And so I've been spending my evenings cleaning all of this and cleaning that there. So what I have left to do is the rest of the tinware down there. So I've been sitting with my butt just on the inside of the bug there, with my big pot of brake cleaner down there and a scrubby brush and some wire brushes. And I've just been sitting here in the evenings listening to podcasts, making grimy, horrible tinware look a lot better. Now, this is obviously the inside of the vehicle. That one's actually good, but I'm not painting that because I don't have the time for that. The back of it looks a bit crappy, but it's still solid and works. So however much I'd love to have the time to clean all of this, it's not going to happen. What I do need to do actually is spray a bit of lube in there. Where's my WD? Right here. Because if you can see, I've obviously had a broken screw in that bit. See, that's what it should look like. And I've got a broken screw in that bit. And the head snapped off there. So let me soak that. I might even try and... Looks like I've tried to get that out already. But if I can't tease that out, I'll have to drill it out. And actually on this block, I think I spoke about it last week, but I actually successfully drilled out and tapped that stud last week. Because whilst I was on a live, I was trying to dick around with fitting an exhaust up, and the exhaust wasn't fitting right. And yeah, I snapped an exhaust stud. Bit stupid. But so yeah, all of this stuff is all clean and nice. Again, inside, where there was loads of grease, there's no paint missing. And where there was less grease, but corrosion over 40, 50 years, that's what it looks like. Because this is a 72. So this is just over 50 years old now. So that's the worst of it, is that rusty bit up in here, and the same up in this one. So they go at the back of the engine. They're effectively sat behind the back wheels. There you go, you've got left and right, whatever there. So they're the worst bits. So yeah. But this engine has been out more than once. More than likely. Oh, I cleaned up, that's the front pulley. That was absolutely caked in grease as well. That's all beautifully clean now. And then just your little bits of tinware as well. So very excited to put that engine back together. Very excited. I've got some last bits down here. Like I said, you got the top fins, and you can see how dirty they are because I'm getting grimy already. So those ones to do. The main fan shroud, and if you see in there, you can just see how disgusting that is. In fact, can you see that? I can just move the grease in there. So that's all got to come out. But yeah, doing things like that is super satisfying. Again, that was caked and covered in grease. That is the oil filler housing. Yeah, the oil filler neck. And that is the alternator mount. And just to clean it up, you know, it's not covered in crap anymore. It's all clean on the inside. and I can handle that without. I can handle it now without getting covered in grease every time. So that's really, really nice. So yeah, look forward to that engine going back together. I'm in no particular rush with the Beetle because I'm really enjoying tinkering out here with it. And I'm filming some bits, I'm not filming all of it. Filthy now. I've got rags and brake cleaner. There we go. Rags and brake cleaner, where are we? Yeah, so I'm not in a major rush with it, but I'm being consistent. You know, if I can get, 6 to 8 hours on this a week over a period of 4 evenings, I'm well happy with that, because your project car won't move if you don't. John Sear says, I was expecting a van furniture delivery on Friday, but the courier had driver issues. Let's hope it arrives tomorrow. Yes, mate, let's hope. Chris Milner says, 8 years ago, I flocked the dash and all parts of it. I have taken it all off, managed to break a couple of bits along the way. Any thoughts on the best way to clean off, remove the old flock? Wow. Chris, what van did you say you had again? My memory is terrible. Just going through the comments now. T4. I would not waste your time trying to remove the old flock, because as far as I know, Tony, you missed out on my jacket repair. I've done it all already. There you go. For those who have just started to watch again, my drift stitched jacket repair with cable ties. As you can see how big the rip ended up being. It was here all the way to like over there. So just a series of cable ties. 5 minutes and it was done. So yes, flocking the dash. I would suggest you get a new one, really, or a very good replacement dashboard. Because as far as I understand, flocking dashes is done with epoxy or a resin of some sort. You paint the resin onto the surface and then you flock on top of it, and then the resin is there to keep all the fibers stood up. And without spending a lot of time with probably a lot of chemicals or even abrasives, you are never going to make that dash back to normal. So I would suggest potentially looking at T4 or van breakers, or getting on Facebook Marketplace to see if anyone's breaking a van. I would suggest starting again. Yeah, unfortunately. All the plastic trims are readily available. I know someone who has just broken a van, Chris Bulmer. He might have a dash depending on if your T4 is early or late. There are 2 dashes in right-hand drive, if I remember right. So yes, I would suggest not even bothering removing or cleaning off the old flock. Probably just get a new one. I hope that's the answer you wanted to hear. Probably isn't. Warren says POR 15, Leigh, or POR 15. What about POR 15? What, you think I should paint all the tinware with POR 15? I could. What do you think? Chris Milner, 2001. Yes, so, yeah, unfortunately, that's what it is. Chris Milner says, okay, thanks. Yeah, I know it's probably not the news you wanted to hear, but like I said, as far as I understand, POR 15, thanks, Warren. Flocking is done with an epoxy resin. I don't know, how did you apply the flocking? Or did you have a professional flock it for you, Chris? Hey, if you do remove your dash, there's probably a bunch of jobs under there that you could do whilst it's off. It's always good to take big things like that off. That fan is way better, Tony. So Tony, your superstar, your CDH king. Yeah. Electric. I don't understand, Chris. Sorry. Right. So we've got like 20 minutes. Generally, if this is the first time you're watching, I normally do an hour on a Sunday. I started at 8. I will finish at 9. We've got about 20 minutes left. Would you like to ask more questions, or would you like us to do something on the bug? What I was going to do at some stage was fit the bumper irons, but before I fit the bumper irons, I've got to take the crappy ones off, probably got to take the wing off, and then I've got to tap those threads. The tap and die set is actually in my van, but you can sit here and watch whilst I just work on the bug if you like. I'm just going to be sat here, we can chat. What do you reckon? I'm very happy to chat. Right, whilst I move that. Oh my God. This tripod is actually falling apart. That's why it's such a pain. If I put that down here, is that going to be a pain? Or is that going to be cool? Yeah, that's all right, isn't it? We can deal with that. Right, so. New plan then. I'm going to take this wing off so we can see what's underneath it. Right, where am I going to start today? Am I going to jack it up? Do you reckon I can take the wings off without jacking it up? What should I unplug first? The wings, the wiring? What should we do? Wings, wiring, indicator, headlamps, all to just... I want to take the wing off anyway, so let's just take the wing off. Oh, we've had another comment. Me, my van and my dog and my bike says, my driver's side wheel arch was rusted through on my T5. How much roughly is a new one to fit, i.e. cut out and weld in? Thanks. The wheel arches themselves, what do you mean, the inner wings or the outer wings? That's a very good question. I'm not a body man, so I could not possibly give you a decent quote on bodywork. But what I would say when it comes to bodywork is find a good trusted body shop. Don't just go with the cheapest, because you'll regret it in the future. Right, how's that for light? Is that good for light or is that too much light? Let's do some bug. Right, I think the first thing I've got to do is probably remove that wing top indicator. And that is as basic as a Phillips screwdriver, he says. Now, if you remember, if you have been a regular watcher of this live, we actually did mess around with these indicators, because when we tried the electrics, here we go, when we tried the electrics before, that's not going to work, is it? When we tried the electrics before, the indicators weren't working properly, so we have actually had these off whilst doing lives. Stay. Is that a wire just under there that I can ping off? Oh yeah, there you go. I didn't even need to do that. For some reason, that's one wire under there. It should have two, one for earth and one for ground and one for the live of the bulb, but it's only got one under there. So my assumptions which I hate, my assumptions would be that the earth is, that the wing is grounded to the body well enough for that indicator to work with just one wire. Is that just going to unplug? Is that just going to unplug? Or is that going to be a pain? Who knows? Let's have a quick look, shall we? Let's remove this headlamp. What am I doing now when I've got an electric one? Hold fire. Aha! You want to see this? This is janky. Right, me and my van and my dog says rear outer, thanks. Rear outer wing. So yes, find a good trusted body shop for that, because that might be some cutaway. Some metal cutaway. Are you dodoing the bug? Sure. I'm going to be fitting a really loud exhaust and doing sound deadening. Hot rodding. So this is all janky and horrible. This has been done before. Okay. Terrible, terrible wiring. That's never going to come out of that hole unless I remove that plug. So try and remove the plug. Put you back in there. Yeah, I think this is all going to need to be gone through, because we have, I'm going to bring you in, You're going to love this. Oh, hang on. Neil Tipping, good evening, Neil. He's thinking of fitting a diesel heater to my caddy van. Any thoughts on where to best position it? Probably behind the driver's seat, in the footwell beneath the driver's seat. That is where I've seen most of them. Oh my gosh. Why is that falling over? Stay. Right, check out this wiring. How good's the lighting? Can you see it? This is why you've got to love old cars, right? So that is the main ground, or brown, main earth, whichever you want to call it. We have got a chock block with not one but two wires coming out of it. Okay, so the main earth on here, for example, is brown. It should be black. Is black. It should be brown. This wire should be continuous from the body all the way back. Sorry, from the light all the way back to the body. But it has got some form of connector here, which goes to black. Then there's a chock block, which on the other side has some sort of spade connector. A bullet connector. Ta-da. Which then goes to black. So that's all crappy and junky. There's another spade connector here for dipped beam or bullet connector. I'm just going to cut all this away, I think. Because look at that. And then the main beam, what I think is main beam, that has got electrical tape on it. No, I tell a lie. It is twisted together. Look at that. Not even soldered. There you go. At least I can get the wiring out of the wing. But that is not going to guarantee decent wiring. I look forward to it though. I like wiring. So we'll have to repair all of that. So all the OG wiring is there. It's just a load of shit. So we need to get this off now. So that is what they call a Nerf bar. That is how well it's attached. And this, if you can check this out, first of all, it's still got the shipping paint on it. It's actually still got the label on it from when it was bought. And that there is a massive spot weld. And that is how they actually attached the blade bumpers, the Overrider US style blade bumpers that were on this car. And it was the first thing I took off. So that's not going to guarantee success, is it? So I'm going to need, there's a 13 mil under there. Oh, none of this is looking pretty. None of this is looking pretty. Do excuse my leg in the way if my leg is in the way. That's why I wanted to take off this wing. That's why I wanted to take on this wing. Because everything's really, really janky. I'm going to get some WD just on that thread as best I can before I take it off. Let's hope that helps. So, any more questions whilst we're playing around? We've still got 18 of you in here. Right, I'm not guaranteeing this wing's coming off, by the way. I just thought we'd have a play whilst we're here, you know. I've also noticed one of the adjusters up here has snapped off. See that? This should have two adjusters, one here and one there, and that one snapped off. Oh, it's going really well. I can see some replacement wings in my future. Yes, that's a very good point, Warren. So me and my van and my dog and my bike. Where are you based? Somebody out there might be able to recommend a good body shop that they've used before. So, that piece of junk is off. That is going straight in the scrap pile. And I have now got, if I remember rightly, there's 14 bolts holding on this wing, and they're all 13 mils or M8s. But I think what I'm going to do first is give them all a bit of a spray. And the best place to do that is going to be on the inside, because that's where all the bolts come through. Is on the inside of this wing here. Oh, this is going to be a pain. They're probably all seized, probably all rusty. But hey, this is why we're here, right? To play this game. This is why we love this. Right, done. Let's see how the first one's going to go. First one, down the bottom. Get myself in position. Ooh! Can you see the spider out there hanging around? There's a little spider hanging out just here. Just going to disturb him completely. Get on there. The spider is vacating pretty fast. Where's the bolt gone? There. Right, next question. What jobs would you suggest whilst the dash is out? So T4 dashes have got a lot of wiring underneath, but say for example in the past somebody might have hacked in your stereo. So that is a good suggestion. Maybe look at your stereo wiring. Maybe you want to do some improvements to your stereo wiring. Maybe you've got some alarm wiring or some bits and pieces like that. Maybe have a look at your heater core. Maybe your heater doesn't work very well. Might be a good time to replace your heater core or your heater matrix. Where's the next bolt? Where's the next bolt? There. Right. If it's a 2001, it might even have a particulate filter or whatever they call them, pollen filter under the dash. That would be a good one. I just think like a good, if this is a keeper van for you, a good general clean under there, revise some wiring. There might be some earth points. It might be a good idea to lube up some pedal assemblies or change some bushings, because I know T4 pedals can get worn or broken. I think it's the clutch pedal in particular, the bracket can snap on the T4 clutch pedal. So all of those sorts of things would be a really good idea to do whilst the dash is out. Change the dash bulbs. You know, you might want to change your dash bulbs for like a bright white, an LED or a blue or something like that. That might be a good little job to do. So yeah, all of those things. Maybe some sound deadening under there. If you can get to the actual bulkhead once all the carpet's out and the mats are out and the dash is out, it could be a good idea to put some sound deadening under there too. Right, I'm going to bring you up here because it's probably not very exciting looking at that wing. Right, who else? Oh, Gordo 2.0. Good evening, Gordo. What's people's suggestions on the best and easiest first van to convert? Need to accommodate 2 adults and a large German Shepherd. So, in terms of which van is easiest, I know I'll get some haters out there, but more than likely, the easiest van to convert is the van with the most spare parts availability. And at the moment, the best fan for that is the VW T5 T6 platform. Mainly because you can get quite literally everything for them. If you have a thing that needs doing to a camper van and it's a T5 T6, there's going to be a part out there for it, or there's going to be an interior, or there's going to be a bed made especially for it, or a swivel seat base, or some trim, or some curtains. Most of the other vans are catching up. So if you've got the budget, buy the best T5, T6 panel van that you can. And I say panel van over anything else because if you buy a Combi, for example, a factory Combi van with middle seats, you've got to remove the middle seats and you've probably got to replace the factory VW windows. And whereas if you've got a panel van, you can pick whatever windows you want and you get to fit them yourself. I'd say a panel van over a caravel as well, because caravels are a bit more involved to convert. Which is my last panel. Yeah, a panel van over a caravel is even easier, because most interiors and most parts out there are designed for a naked T5 panel van over a caravel. You won't find an interior that's designed to fit a caravel interior. And the difference between a caravel and a panel van is that you get loads of interior plastics. And nobody makes an interior to fit around caravel plastics. So yeah. However, if you've never converted a van before, and you want some good ideas, go to somewhere like the event at the NEC that's coming up to give you some good ideas. Or one of our Campers and Coffee events where you can speak to like-minded people who've converted their own vans, or just any other camper van show, really. I should have left the bolt in the top, shouldn't I? Idiot. Hang on. It's coming, but I should have left the bolt in the top, because otherwise all the weight's going to go on those bottom bolts, and I don't want that. So yes, in terms of the easiest to convert, I would suggest the likes of a T5, T6 is the easiest to convert, if you've never converted one before. But before you go and convert a camper van, I would get out there in your plain panel van with just a blow-up mattress for a whole season, just to see if a T5 is big enough for you, or too big for you. You know, you might find a caddy van is just enough, or you might find that you want a shower and need a Sprinter. But I would always suggest to people who have never converted a van before, buy one first and get out for a season in it, and then you'll be able to see whether you live inside, whether you camp and cook inside the van, or whether you prefer to camp and cook outside the van, etc, etc. And you can only do that by actually getting out there and, you know, living in the van. Right, just going to get another socket size and a spanner, and I'll be back, and I'll read the rest of your comments. 1 second. I shall be back. Right, the last nut and bolt to do is the one that's holding on the running board. That's a bit of a pain to do because they always rust and they're always a bit crappy. Where are we? There we go. So just a 10mm socket. And a spanner on the other side. Unfortunately, someone's fitted the world's longest 10mm socket in here. Sorry, 10mm bolt. But it's coming off, which is good. Ta-da! It actually had a washer on it and everything. Actually, really solid, this car. He says 2 seconds before he removes the wing. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh no, got that bolt to remove, haven't I? Nearly there. I think I'm definitely going to get new wings for this because these are hammered. Ta-da! Right, so that's the rubber trim. Let's get the wiring out of here. And there we go. Just going to leave that out there for a second. Right, let's pick up these bolts, put them back in their holes. Well, this thing is not pretty. However, it is pretty solid. It says. I've seen a lot worse bugs for a lot more money. Yeah man, I'm quite impressed. And all of this wiring and stuff is quite terminal. Not terminal, rudimental. It's, you know, if that's the right phrase, it's not too difficult to do. One more bolt hole there. I don't know. Have I missed one? No, that should be good. Right, who wants to have a look? Let's have a look at some of these ones first. Hi, right. Tony says, a transit, lol. Right, I have absolutely no basis for my last answer. So that's in response to Gordo 2.0's. Gordo says, I was looking into maybe buying an older, already factory converted van as in a Talbot Express and modernising TAR. Yes, you can do that. However, Talbot Expresses are underpowered, they're loud. The motorhomes are good, but you would end up spending probably more money keeping it on the road, but that is entirely up to you. And modernising it, yeah, you could do. James says, what do you think about the new T7 sharing the transit platform? I'm not convinced yet. Now, that is quite the debate. Personally, I'm really excited for it. I think, now I'm not a new car fan. However, I'm just going to sit down here with you guys. I'm not a new car fan, but I've just realised we've gone over the hour. Good evening. I'm not a new car fan. However, Ford make a damn fine van. VW make a damn fine van. You marry those two together, I think you've got a damn fine van. I'm not opposed to it in the slightest. I'm not a brand slob. I say that in the same breath. If you cut me, I bleed VW. However, I'm not a brand snob. I do own a Ford Transit. It's not on the road at the minute, but I do own a Mark 7 high-top, long-wheelbase ex-welfare wagon Transit, which is in the pipeline. I've owned Fords, I've owned Vauxhalls, I've owned all this, that and the other. I'm not a brand snob, but obviously, as you can tell, I love VW. But I think only good can come of it. And like every other improvement to the T5, T6 platform Volkswagen have made in the past, immediately everybody says, oh, I hate it, it's gonna be crap, it looks like a jelly mould, it looks like a builder's van, blah, blah, blah. But within 2 years, everybody bloody loves it. Look at every other van out there. You know, everybody wants to give their van a nose job and give it a T6, a T6.1 nose job. Everyone wants their cars to look newer, and that is not new. Everybody's been doing that forever. You know, with Beetles, for example, you used to be able to cut out your oval window and put in a big window, or cut out your split window and put in an oval window. You know, making your car look newer is nothing new. I like the fact that Transport HQ have already bought a Ford Transit van platform, so they're already ahead of the game in developing new parts. I think it's going to be really good. I cannot wait, actually. It's exciting. So that's my thoughts. Adam Doe, any advice on doing the head gaskets on my late Type 25 1.9 DG? Also got my eye on the curtain set you did on yours. On doing the head gaskets on a late T25 1.9 DG, give it to someone who's done it before. The T25 1.9 DG is quite a specific engine. Find somebody who's done it before. And the curtain set, the ones that we did on ours, they're brilliant. I love those curtain sets. We run them in our own personal camper van bully. It's brilliant. Lost in a VW, Tony, he says, yes, the NEC. Crawl all over the vans and see how they fitted things. Layouts, etc. Yes, absolutely. And I agree. Buy the van, use it, camp with it. Marcus Harris. Baja Wings, Leigh. No, maybe not. Marcus says, buy van, camp, work out what you really need. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, we're actually over the hour. I mean, if people don't mind me waffling on for a bit more, let me know down below. The only thing I've got booked for tonight is ironing the kids' uniform. That's about it. I'm just going to be in here otherwise. So, as you can see behind me, for those who missed it, I have just removed the Beetle wing, purely because I wanted to get rid of these disgusting Nerf bar overrider things that should be bolted on here with 2 bolts, but only had 1 in. Wow, that's really crispy under there. Okay, that might be a replacement panel in the future. I think someone had a real hard time figuring out how to bolt one thing to another. See, that should go there. They completely fluffed it up. Anyway, let's have a look, shall we? questions. Liam Walker says, do you have any discount codes for your website? Converting vans is so expensive. We do. I'm not going to give them out live on a YouTube video, though, so give us an email tomorrow, Liam. James says, I'm good. There's nothing on TV. I do look a little bit steamy there, though. Let me just give that lens a quick wipe. 1 second. Or is that just me being down there and low? Right, how's that? Is that a bit cleaner? Look all a bit rosy cheeked tonight, don't I? So, wing off. That is the area I've got to clean up. So I'm going to be drilling and tapping all of those threads. Sorry, not drilling, but I'll be tapping all of those threads to accept one of my new bumper hangers. Because behind me on the wall over there, you see it? They're the Europa bumpers that I bought secondhand. In fact, I swapped my American Tow Rail bumpers for those at Swap Meet. Which is the bumper hanger that I need. And again, these are all parts that I got off Marketplace or eBay. That says Europa front. That's one of the front ones. And the one without a tag on should be the other front one. 1 second, there we go. So, let's see if we can figure this out, shall we? Liam says, Liam, you get the parts plus the knowledge with CVC. Yeah, I guess so. I am your discount code. I get to show you how to put them all on. Right, so. Oh, I didn't show you. Right, inner wing. It doesn't look too bad for a 70-year-old car. 70-year-old, 50-year-old car. As you can tell by this weld here, and this little bit of shit up here, this has had a replacement front clip in the past. Now, they've not done the worst job on it. They've not done the worst job. But what somebody has then done in the future is put another replacement clip on it. So this must have had, so that's a replacement part, that's a replacement part, original metal. So at some stage, it's had all manner of bumps and dings or rot or whatever. So, but again, I paid next to nothing for this car for what it is. And I'm quite happy with what I got. So, it's actually really not bad behind here. Bugs normally suffer with a ton of rot down here. Nothing there, that's good. All of the bolt holes that I need to hold the wig on, that's good. I can put new grommets in this hole for the indicator wiring. The actual wiring grommet for the headlight loom is still good. I need to sort the headlight loom, not so bad. And one day, who knows, this will get a resto of sorts. But for the next season or two, I just need to get it on the road and working. Then I could sort out all the niggles. Oh, this is a replacement beam, by the way. This is an adjustable beam I bought used. Because the original one I used on a customer's car. I'm an idiot. So anyway. Europa bumper iron. Here we go. It's not that way. It will be that way, I guess. 1, 2, and 3. So if I use some of the bolts that I had for the wings, just as an example, and these will only go on once the wings are in place, but tapping them out is going to be an easier job when the wings are off. So that's why I did that. 1. Is that even going to go in there? I don't even know if this is the right side. Can anybody tell me if this is the right side? I'm going to guess this is actually the wrong side. Because that hole, I think, should go on the bottom. Let's try this one. There we go. Cool. So, hole, bolt. Is that going to go in? No, that one definitely needs tapping out. Right. Friend I mentioned before, Trevor of VW Van Conversions in Fareham, needs his website relaunching as changing webmaster. Any tips and recommendations? Who does yours? We actually built our own website on Wix. Previous employer
did the groundwork for the website, built it to sort of my spec, my thoughts, my design. And then we've been sort of playing around with it ever since. We are actually having a new one sorted at the moment, and we are using a guy called Ben. Can't remember his name, the name of his business. Gosh, yeah, they all need tapping out, don't they? But the tap set is in my van, and I don't fancy going out there right now and leaving you hanging here for 10 minutes whilst I go out and sort the keys and open it up and everything else. But if that bumper iron goes on there, shall we see what I need for my bumpers? Ta-da! That there, I think. That is a crappy looking bumper, isn't it? But it'll polish up nice. Status update, it needs work. But I cannot wait to smash on with it. So just from removing this wing alone, we need to tap out all the bolt holes up here, maybe do a bit of rust proofing, because that's getting a little bit flaky up here. So we could grind some of that back, put some decent paint in there, just some chassis black or Por 15 or some Raptor, just get all that done under there. Need to tap out the holes down here for our bumper irons. Get some new bolts for our bumper irons, because we don't have any bolts for those right now. And I definitely think we need some front brake hoses, the Flexies. That's about it for the front, I think. I think apart from that, it's actually quite good under here. Look forward to doing all the wiring, because like I said, I do enjoy a bit of wiring. Should we see if that bit's twisted together as well? Because that meant, that would make, yeah, there you go. There was 2 twisted together bits of earth wire, ground wire, in between the headlight socket itself. That was twisted together there, and the actual loom. What a mess. Would you like it if I brought you here next time to show you how we do all of that? You know, I could do more lives in the evening, but it won't be very much Q&A. It'll be just sort of chilling with us, really, and doing some lives, just whilst I work on the car, because I'm very happy to chat with you whilst we're doing this sort of thing. Motivate says, is it difficult to add spotlights to a T5 T6? No, lots of people have done it. I'm looking at doing that with my T5 T6 moving forward, so I look forward to doing that. Are you going to dub freeze this year? Says Adam Doe. Don't know. I might. I haven't made my calendar yet. Still getting over Christmas, planning the year, planning the schedule and everything else, but I've not done dub freeze, I don't think, so that could be a good one. Ashley Hughes, Wix, cool, thanks. This website will likely have a very basic e-com for the furniture he makes as well as the pop tops he does. Super. Marcus Harris says 25th, 26th of July. Right, so gentlemen, ladies, observers, followers, fans and people, I'm going to call it. That is an hour and 13 tonight. I've really enjoyed myself once again. You hit me with questions immediately, which I bloody love. So thank you very, very much for that. Managed to make my Beetle look a little bit sadder, look. But we've gone through some stuff, which I really, really like. So thank you very much for joining us. Have a very good week ahead. And we've got some exciting news moving forward as well, because yeah, I'll just leave it there. We've got some good stuff coming forward. But like I said, if you fancy hanging out with me in the garage, I'll be here most evenings, so let me know. Right, have yourself a good evening, gentlemen, ladies, people. See you next week. Bye-bye now. Oh, and if you don't, like and subscribe to the channel, which really, really helps. Really, really helps us. If you can, like this video
And you do that by closing down the comments in the chat, finding the thumbs up, it should come up, and then you can like the video. So if you can do that, that'd be amazing. And also, there should be a little notification bell on the Combe Valley Campers channel. If you can find that, hit that, you get notifications every time we do a live and every time we do a new video. So that'd be really cool too. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your time. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.